Today I'm going to be showing you how to upgrade your Synology network attached storage or NAS drives from one capacity to another. And as a bonus, I'm going to show you how to clear and wipe the data from those first round of disks so that they're clean and free of any and all of your prior information. Let's go. Hello again, everybody. Welcome back to Rusty Brown Photography. I am Rusty. So glad you guys are here. As you can see, I got the handy dandy coach's clipboard because today I got something important that I want to talk to you about, and that is how to upgrade the capacity from your network attached storage drives. I'm also going to show you what to do, not necessarily what to do with your old disks, but definitely how to clean them, how to clear them, how to format them, how to wipe them, so that you can have choices as to what you do with them after the fact. So you may remember about 4 years or so ago, I decided to make the leap into network attached storage, and I bought a Synology NAS. I believe it was a 920 plus. I'll put a card to that video right here. That was a big step in the for me in my methods of doing backups, as I was doing backups before, but I wasn't using a network attached storage. So at that time, I had to go through the process of deciding what size drives to put in. Now with that, I think it was a DS920 plus, that's a 4-bay drive. I opted for 4 6-terabyte drives, and you know, I did so with some ignorance. What I mean by that is I assumed that that would give me 24 terabytes of storage, which should be plenty. I also miscalculated something that I'll tell you about here in a second. But first of all, the 24 terabytes is not available. The reason that 24 terabytes wasn't available is because most NAS solutions leverage some form of RAID. So, you know, at a really high level, and this isn't a video about RAID, but RAID is basically a redundant array of independent disks. And most, I think the critical piece of RAID is the R, the redundancy. And what that basically means is, in a regular world where you're just backing your stuff up from one disk to the other, that's what you have. If you lose the backup disk, you've lost everything. Well, in the RAID world, depending on the level of RAID that you choose, there's some redundancy involved in how your data is mapped across a series of drives. It doesn't matter if it's 2 drives, 4, 6, 10, it doesn't matter how big your NAS is. If you're using RAID, well, most RAIDs, not RAID 0, but if you're using any other form of RAID, your data doesn't go on one disk until it fills up, onto the second, onto the third. Whatever you back up is spread across the totality of the array. And something like RAID 5 uses an awful lot of disk space to give you the redundancy because it's critically important to you. Well, Synology has something that's sort of I guess it's proprietary, or it's their unique flavor of RAID, and it's called SHR, which is Synology Hybrid RAID. It's their form of redundancy that is not, clearly it's not a RAID 0, but it's also not a RAID 5 or RAID 6. So with SHR, right off the bat, I lost 8 terabytes. I shouldn't say I lost 8 terabytes. There's 8 terabytes of data of that 24 that's unavailable to me, because it is doing some form of array mapping, I'll say, of my data. So think about that. I had 24 terabytes, that knocked me down to 16. So I had 16 to work with. The thing I was talking about earlier that I forgot to account for was that I had already been doing backups. And you may remember, I have a series of these Seagates, which I'll talk about in a little bit. I think this is a great way to do backups. These 4 terabyte HDDs are low cost and they're very good. But when I started my journey into NAS, I took the data that was already on the Seagates and I copied it to the NAS as another form of backup. Well, that was 8 terabyte right there. So I had 16 to work with. I put 8 in there, right? So right off the bat, I'm down to 8. So in the last 4 years, I've used 5 terabytes. And what happened was I recently changed out the computer here, bought a new machine, and when I upgraded the machine, one of the things that I did before I took the old one offline was one final backup. And when I did that backup, I got a warning from my Synology NAS that basically said you are going to be operating in warning mode. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So here's my screen when I log into the NAS. You see here, I got a warning status. It just kind of turns kind of an orange color. And it's basically saying you have less than 3 terabytes free, and it says you have to proceed to the storage manager to take your next steps. You get to see how many storage pools you have. You know, clearly I have one, but you also see the warning that's going across the top. And as you can see, I'm using about 13 terabytes now of my 16 that's available. But again, if you look over here on the left side, if I click on the storage pool, you'll see that all 4 drives are going to show up. You see that I have 5.5 available of the 6, but you also see up here at the top, I have to take some action. One of those is adding additional drives. Well, in my case, it's going to be substituting an additional drive. So after taking a look at Storage Manager and Storage Pool number 1, I had to get some new drives. So what I decided to do was I'm going to go with Western Digital Red Plus. I'm moving to a 12 terabyte. One, I'm staying with Western Digital Red Plus because that's what I got in 2021. They work really well. It's a very solid HDD. Something to keep in mind, you don't have to get drives from the manufacturer. Synology does make the same drive, but they cost more. One thing I will say is that no matter what type of drive you get for your NAS, you should stick with the same brand. So I'm going with the 12 terabyte this time because I have a little more knowledge in terms of how long that should last me. We're going to get into the process now of actually how you're going to do your upgrade. And in a nutshell, it's replacing one for one, right? So what you're going to see me do is I'm going to pull out an existing 6 terabyte. I'm going to put in a new 12 terabyte. I'm going to come back to the Synology sysadmin screen and tell it to add it to that storage array, and it's going to take some time to do that. Does that make sense? So my NAS, my DS920 Plus, is not here in my office. I actually keep it downstairs in Dee's office. It's been there for a while. It's just kind of tucked away in a quiet little spot in her office. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to go in and I'm going to pop out drive number 1, which is a 6 terabyte, and that comes out nice and easy. Once that drive is out, the next thing that I want to do is grab the new one, which, like I said, is the 12 terabyte Western Digital Red Plus. You put that back in the case and you put it into the slot 1. Now at this point, the NAS is going to be beeping. It beeps because it says something is wrong. However, it has not lost data. This process that we're doing would be the same if you had a error disk. If something went wrong, it would start beeping. You are allowed to pull that out and still work under a degraded condition. One other key point here is you notice I just popped that thing out and put the other one in. These are hot swappable. If, however, you feel like you want to power everything down and make the swap and do that, you can totally do that. But what I'm doing here today is totally hot swappable, so therefore I never power down the NAS itself. I'm just going to pop those out. Okay, so if you look here right now, you see it's a degraded pool 1. You only see the 3 because I pulled the 1. But in just a sec, you'll see that it recognizes the new drive that I put in. So if you look up here on the top right, there it is. System detected a newly inserted drive in drive 1. Now it's going to ask us what we want to do with that drive, and you just basically follow the instructions that are on the screen. If you look at storage pool number 1, you'll see that the new drive, is about 11 terabytes. That is our 12 terabyte drive that we just put in. So you hit repair storage pool. Storage pool number 1 is the correct one because I only have one. You select drive 1 because that's the drive that we put the new one into. You go to next after that. Yep, this is just a status here. So we're going to go apply from this screen. And then it's going to tell us that all data on that first drive will be erased. Okay. We're going to click on OK here. And then as it starts to figure out what to do, if you look in the upper left, you'll see that it recognized the drive, and now it's showing that it's in a repairing and initializing phase. You see here we got the 4 drives, but the new one, 10.9 terabytes, is the one that's being worked on. Now if we go back and look up on the left, it's repairing and writing, and it says this is going to take 9 hours and 56 minutes. So there it is for your first drive. That's about 10 hours of time. I ran that overnight. When I came back the next morning, it's done. You want to go back into your sysadmin screen on your Synology to get the status. So let's take a look at what it said when I went back there. Drive 1 shows that it's 10.9 terabytes. We still have a warning status up in the upper left. And if you look at the hard drives, that's just a confirmation of what we have, right? With the other 3 are still 5.5s. But we are completed now with this effort. There's nothing else to do on that. And we said, so your first drive is done. It's a rinse and repeat scenario now. So as you can see, I'm going back in. This time I'm popping the second drive. Basically, no different than the first. You remove the old drive, the 6 terabyte. You open up and put your new drive into the case, face it the right direction. You insert that. And again, the Synology is going to start beeping just like it did the first time. And we're going to go right back into the system management screen on the Synology, and we're going to tell it what has to be done, right? So here we are, you're looking at drive 2. You get the warning message at the top. It's going to give us an option as to what we want to do. So we're going to pop in that other drive. It doesn't see it yet, but it will in just a second. Once it recognizes that we've got another drive, you can say repair now, right? And when you click on repair now, there it is. It says drive 2. You want to select it. Yes, that's the one we're repairing because that's the most recent one that we put in. We select that drive. We move on to next. From there, it's like, yep, we are going to proceed. We're going to hit next again. And that's the status of what we're about to do. And then after this, it's going to tell us that this drive will be formatted. We say OK. And then again, if you look up at the upper left, it's going to say that it's doing some form of repair right there. And then once it gets itself together, it's going to come back and it's going to tell you that it's initializing. Then after it's initializing, it's going to tell us that it's going to be writing. So once you get done with the initialization and she begins to write, it's going to give you a status that it sees. And like we saw on the first one, this says 9 hours, 42 minutes for drive 2 to be completed. Almost 10 hours for that one. It is a rinse and repeat scenario. Now, I will say this. You would think that this would be about a 3-day process if you're doing one a day overnight at about 10 hours. But the third drive alone by itself took 2.5 days. To the point where I had to go on Reddit to see if maybe something was wrong. And this is apparently a fairly common occurrence when you're doing these upgrades. It's taking all the data. And here's the thing. The amount of time that's being used or taken to do this really depends on a couple of key things. One, how many drives are you changing? And two, what is the capacity of those drives? If you don't have a lot of data, your restoration process could be a whole lot faster than mine was. But I found it odd that the first 2 came in right around 10 hours. The third one was 2.5 days. And yes, the fourth and final disk was also 2.5 days. It just took longer to write. And if you can imagine, when you take that one out and put the new one in, all the other data is on the 3, so it has to even itself out over that array over and over and over until you've done all 4 of them. Now let's take a look at what it looks like finally after the 4th drive got replaced. So we go back, we get on our screen, we log back in to the Synology box first. So we get here, and now you see everything is healthy. Right? I mean, it really is. There's no warning anymore. You can see that we have a greater amount of capacity now. The 12.8 is still there, but we've got 18.5, a little bit more now free. And if we go over to the storage pool like we did in the beginning and examine what we had, you can see everything's green. 13 used, 18.6 is free. Yeah, and also if we go over here to the left and we click on the storage pool, you'll get the same thing. But now you see all 4 of the drives are coming in at 10.9, just about 11. There's no mix-up anymore. They are all assigned to storage pool 1, which is great. And then we look at our files to make sure that our stuff is good. So because everything is in there, I'm just going to do a couple of random tests. I'm going to one of my backups in photography. Let's take a look at that. Let's take a look at the 2018 US Open in New York. We'll pick this camera this date, and we should see a bunch of raw files in here. Yep, there they are. Those are a bunch of old raw files from 2018 from the US Open. Okay, that's cool. Let's see if we can find something that actually has an image on it. So let's go down here. We'll go to models. Let's take a look at Miranda, for example, and we'll see if we have a JPEG or two that we can look at. We should see a representation of an image, but those files are there. They show me that they're JPEG files, and if I click on the first one, there's an image of Miranda. So that's good. That means that everything is in its place. Obviously, if you want to check all your files, you can, but again, that's 13 terabytes of data. I was just looking to make sure that everything looked normal. My tree structure was the same. The names were the same. The type of files were different, like raw files in one place, JPEGs in another, and I'm satisfied with that. And it's important to do that to make sure that you have what you have before you decide what you're going to do with your the disk that you pulled out. The way to ensure that your data is gone off the old disk is to either wipe them, erase them, format them, etc. But there's a key to doing that. You have to get a SATA to USB adapter, SATA, and I have one here that I want to show you. It's exceptionally small, but it's an amazing device. This is it. This is really it, and you have to. I'll hold it up here. You have to exercise caution when you get one of these, because I came really close to getting the wrong kind. Number one, for this type of exercise that I'm about to show you, you have to get a SATA to USB converter that has AC power. Okay, the first one I had in the cart, I looked at it, I thought, man, that's pretty slick, it's good. And then I started reading the fine print. It was only good up to 2 terabytes. Remember, we're taking 6 terabytes out. And it didn't have a power adapter with it. So I did more research. This little guy, and I have a link to this, by the way, in the show notes below, less than $20. And I opted for the USBC adapter, but you could get the same thing with a USB 3 adapter if you prefer, and that one was less than $15, right? So you need this because, let me grab one of the old drives, so just so you see that this is one of the 6 terabyte drives that has been removed. It's heavy, it's in great shape, no harm, no foul. But if you look carefully right there at the interface, you can see where the SATA connection goes. So in order to be able to wipe or format these drives, you literally have to take your SATA connection, or your adapter, I should say, and let's get that guy right in there. I just got these new glasses. You think this would work. There it is. You plug that in, that SATA is now connected, right? Your USB-C obviously would go into that corresponding port on your machine, but on the back of the SATA connection, I don't know if you can see it, it's pretty small. That's where your AC power is going to go. So not a very long cord, and the AC power adapter is not long either. In fact, I had to attach an extension cord to it. But it's really just that simple. Once you have this connected and you plug it into your PC, you will not see it, right? Let's be clear about that. You will hear it. You'll get a beep that says the drive is there, but because it's formatted from the NAS, it's your Windows machine, let's talk about a PC first, is looking for something that's, NTFS based. This is not it. So if you want to be able to see the drive, it's not going to be like going to my computer and looking at drives. What you have to do is you have to go into the disk management option. So you go to your Windows Start, you type disk management, and when you bring it up, it will show you any type of drive regardless of how it's formatted. So there's 2 ways that you can wipe your disk. If you want to do it on a PC, you connect it, you go to disk management, you will see all of your drives. And watch the bold. Any drive that you normally have on your machine, like a regular external drive, anything that's configured for that OS, is going to have the name across the top, especially if you named it, and it will be in bold. The new drive, new to this machine, which is the Western Digital, the 6 terabyte, it just shows up like a basic drive, and you can see it's got a bunch of data on it, but you don't know what that data is. From that screen, you can either go up to the top, or you can right click and you can format it. And when you do that, you're taking all the information off of it. I didn't do it quite that way because I stumbled onto something that for me was much faster. Behind me I have a Mac Pro, and with the Mac you don't have to tell it what to do. Same thing, you connect it to your SATA adapter, and when I plugged it into the USB-C port on the Mac, after 30 seconds, window popped up and said, hey, I see a drive that I don't recognize. What do you want me to do with it? And if you select initialize, you then get the options to say, okay, I want to white format this, and it asks if you're sure. And if you erase it, it takes all the data off, and then a graphic representation of it shows up on the home screen on the Mac, meaning that it's done. So it was very fast, and it was a lot easier for me in terms of number of steps taken. So I basically did that to all of mine. I erased them on the Mac, but I will show you what that looks like now if I connect these to the PC, right? You go into the start menu here on a PC, and you type disk management right there in the top. And once you type disk management, you're going to see what's really connected to your machine. Now, if you watch this, this is going to show us, let me open this up a little wider. This is going to show us what's actually connected right now. In fact, I'll fill the screen with this. Let's just enlarge it. And you see 4 drives. At the top, you see my production drive, which is external. Next, you see the C drive, which is my actual boot drive on the PC. Next, you're going to see my 16 terabyte external, which is on the desktop. And then you're going to see my 4. Those are the 4 drives that are connected right now. But when I connect this Western Digital Red Plus via the SATA cable, it'll pop up right there in the middle. And it just shows up as a basic 5.6 terabyte drive, right? It's literally right there. That is the clean drive, no data on it. It tells you it's healthy, it's 100% empty, but it's not yet formatted for Windows. As you notice, there's no bold print on the top of that. So that is the way that you can verify that, you know, your drive has been wiped, it's 100% clean, and you are good to go. It's pretty easy to upgrade your drives. It just takes a long time. If you're going to repurpose them, like I am now with these are totally good 6 terabyte drives now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make them available for sale at a much discounted rate than when I bought them. If you are interested in them, my email address is in the show notes. Drop me a line. I will be glad to ship them to you at a severely discounted price. What I want to say though before I close out is that none of this is necessary, right? You don't have to do a NAS system. I would encourage it, but it's not necessary. I still maintain, let's get some of these over here. I still maintain that this system works. It's different. You know, you can get as many of these 4 terabyte drives as you can and individually back your stuff up. A little archaic, but it does work. These are 99 bucks. And then, I mean, I have some that I haven't even used yet, the 5 terabyte ones, you know, a whopping $29 more. But again, you know, no AC power required. You could manually do that. And oh, by the way, I still do. The fact that I'm backing everything up to a NAS hasn't stopped me from using these. This is my secondary storage that I can store offsite at a family member or at a friend's house. So what I'm saying is the NAS may not be necessary, but it's better than this, right? If you're still using this as your primary means of storage and you're doing no backup, you're asking for failure. This does one thing really, really well. It's a temporary, it's fast, it's good on the road. It helps me move data from the card to the laptop to someplace else while I'm out on a shoot. But this is not designed for repeated use as a primary storage medium. But take that for what you will. The drives that I talked about, right, 99 bucks. The memory card in your camera costs more than that. So if backing up isn't worthwhile to you, you know, again with a NAS, please find some form of backup to save your data. At the end of the day, it's really what what is the risk of losing the data to you? That's what it is. You know, I'm not a pro photographer, but I don't want to lose my data. And now that I understand how NAS works, with these 4 12 terabytes in there, this should carry me at my current rate for about 8 years, which is the goal. If you are going to consider a NAS, one thing I want to say is you don't have to get a 4-bay. You can get a 2-bay and it works just as fine. I would encourage you, if you're going to get a 2-bay, get a double-digit capacity drive, whether it's a 10 or a 12 or a 14. It'll save you some time down the road. If I would have done my homework properly in 2021, I would have purchased the 12 terabyte from then. And had I done that right now, that same 13 terabyte that I'm using would be in play, but I would still have almost 19 terabytes free. I just didn't know. Quickly, let's talk about the costs, just so you know where to go get them. Me personally, I bought mine at B&H, and each of the 12 terabytes was $240. The same drive on Amazon is $260 something. So, you know, do your homework. And one other thing I'll say, you don't have to do all 4 at the same time. That's, I think, another plus of Synology's SHR. You could do one, you could put in a 12 with those 3 6s, walk away, and you're fine. But you have to remember, the system is only going to use whatever the lowest common denominator is. So you put a 12 in, but you have 3 of those 6s. 6 is the max you're going to get out of that 12, or in my case, 5.5. You have to have the same amount capacity-wise in order to gain the full breadth of what it is that you're going to have on that disk. So you could say, I don't want to spend $1,000 on 4 drives. You could do 1 a quarter if you had to. Replace one, pull one. Replace one, pull one once a quarter. And then by the end of the year, you've slowly done an incremental upgrade to your system. So you could do it that way as well. If I can do this, if I can do this Synology NAS upgrade like that and get it the first time, you can do it too. It wasn't hard. It just took a long time because it took a week. Because of my 16 terabytes available, I was using 13. Like I say, I will have a link to the drives that I'm using. I'll have a link to the new ones that I purchased. I'll have a link expressly to that SATA cable. You want to make sure you get the right SATA to USB cable. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm so glad that you guys took the time to rock with the channel, and hopefully something that I've said or shown you today will help you in your backup journey, or your storage journey, or your incremental upgrade of your NAS journey. Until next time, take care. This is Rusty Brown Photography. We'll see you.